On the top story this evening, yet another day of twists and turns in the Tata Group saga. Cyrus Mistry has been replaced as the chairman of Tata Global Beverages. 7 out of 10 members voted in favour of replacing Mistry. One independent director who supported him is Analjeet Singh. He has spoken exclusively to CNBC TV18. Analjeet Singh said, and I quote, "Keeping the merits, demerits and performance measures to one side, what is happening today is totally uncharacteristic of the Tata Group. Mr. Ratan Tata, whom I have long-standing relationship with, and the Parsi community at large," end of quote. And joining us now is Mr. Santhana Krishnan, the non-executive director on board of Tata Global Beverages. We'll also have Shireen joining in just a bit. Sir, if you could start by telling us what exactly transpired at the board meeting, because we've got now conflicting accounts and viewers, the public at large and shareholders are confused. There's a statement to the stock exchanges that went out. Mr. Mistry's office has issued a counter statement calling that release inaccurate and calling his ouster illegal.
Are you referring to me, Santhana Krishnan here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I don't want to get into what statement they've issued. Actually, I should go by the board process. There was a board meeting and it had certain other agendas, including consideration of the half-yearly accounts. They were considered under any other item. This item was taken out. And then the board, by 7-3, voted to replace Mr. Mistry as chairman of Tata Global Beverages. Hello.
Right. Mr. Santhana Krishnan, this is Shireen. If I could ask you a question specifically on the statement that's come in from Mr. Mistry's office. They have termed the replacement of the chairman as inaccurate and illegal. They say that this was not on the agenda of the board meeting, that Cyrus Mistry was chairing the board meeting, that Harish Bhatt's proposal to make you the chairman was ruled out. How do you respond to that, sir?
In all the board agendas, there is always an omnibus clause as any other subject with the permission of the chair. Particularly, I give an example of an acquisition or any other sensitive topic is never listed in the main agenda, but is taken as an item any other agenda. And also, this issue came in the last moment, so the company would not have included it. But then there is a process under the Companies Act. When an item is brought in, if the chairman is not interested, you do it with the chairman's permission and also one other independent director agreeing to it. The chairman himself is interested. We go to the larger board and the larger board gives us an approval. It's something like saying the board cannot do certain things. Board can always do certain things. It is permitted both under the Companies Act as well as under the secretarial standards. These are exceptional issues and there are exceptional ways of dealing with this. I don't see any illegality in this because the board members present, for example, if you're in a bank and suddenly you find certain items have been stolen, you don't wait for an agenda item to come and then introduce it. You always introduce it in the last moment with the consent of the directors. Same process was followed.
You're saying you don't believe that this was illegal, or you're also saying that there are exceptional ways of dealing with exceptional situations. But what makes the board want to take this decision, Mr. Santhana Krishnan?
Can I finish it? The Act provides two methods. On a topic which is well known to you, much earlier, when the agenda item goes out, you include it in the agenda. A topic which is not known to you, which you have not decided, it's always taken as any other agenda is what I'm saying. So the agendas would have gone 15 days back. At that time, even this would not have come to the knowledge of the management. Then when it is come, then it is probably introduced as under any other item. All that I'm saying is introducing under any other item is permitted by law. Process has been prescribed. That process has been very, very strictly followed. I don't think I would agree that there is any illegality in it.
Yeah, Mr. Santhana Krishnan, this is Arun here. A majority of the board today, 7-3, and a majority of the independent directors voted to replace Mr. Mistry as chairman. You are saying it was a last-minute consideration. What was the consideration that went behind this decision and this item on the agenda? Could you just explain the wisdom of the board majority to the viewers, to the stakeholders? What was the board majority wisdom behind the decision?
No, I think CNBC itself has come out with the reasons. Probably I will also read the same reasons that you have said, Arun. The reason is obviously stability and long-term growth of the organization. And second is, you would appreciate that there is a shareholder democracy. So shareholders will have to decide. I don't think the board has got any role to play in who should be a director, who should not be a director. But the chairman of the board, you would expect him to work at close cooperation with the principal shareholders and all the stakeholders. We obviously cannot have hostility in a relationship with one of the shareholders, and we still continue to work as a company. I think we were more interested in the employees, stakeholders. There are several. Tata brand itself is involved, and we are doing an international business. I don't think Tata Global Beverages could have taken any uncertainty any longer.
Mr. Santana Krishna, the Tata Global Beverages Board has taken a very different stance and a very different position from the board meetings that have happened of Indian Hotels, Tata Steel, Tata Chemicals, and Tata Motors. Why did the Tata Global Beverages Board believe that this needed to be done in this fashion? When several other board meetings that haven't chosen to go down this route, sir.
I would only say that I'm not aware of what happened in other boards, so I'm not competent to comment. But my personal view is that I only saw in the newspaper or with CNBC, so I'm going to quote you. If the independent directors have said something about, in my view, independent directors do not have an independent entity other than being a board member, and in the directors meet they can talk. But coming out and making statements by independent directors is not the route that Tata Global felt it may not be an appropriate route to follow. Therefore, Tata Global kept a boardroom issue within the boardroom and decided and sent a very decisive message to stakeholders so that they get a lot of comfort.
Last question, Mr. Santana Krishna. I have one last question, Shireen, for him, and he actually preempted it. But that was regarding the role of independent directors. I think Shireen has also been referring to it in the last few days. Everyone is questioning the independence of independent directors on both sides. People are questioning the eminence of independent directors. You are an independent director on several boards. You are a chairman on one of the bank boards, if I recollect correctly, sir.
Yes.
Tell me, how do you handle the role as an independent director? How do you see the role of an independent director generally and specifically in such a crisis?
I will only tell you myself. For example, the independent directors have to bring in stability into the boardroom. Their job is not to deal with stakeholders. And probably after this, I would never speak to the media because at the time when testing times, we needed to bring stability. I'm trying to spell out what Tata Global Beverages did to you. Independent director, if they are going to say so-and-so is good, then they will have to say that why they are saying their so-and-so is good. Are they going to get into shareholder disputes and pass a judgment on it? In fact, independent directors making any statement, which I took a view in Tata Global, is taking sides is not correct. By doing something, I would have taken side by coming out with a public statement. Therefore, we felt collectively in Tata Global Beverages more appropriate and correct way of dealing with this. Keep these issues within the boardroom. Do not make any public statement. We sent in regulatory filing, and that's where your call came.
Okay. Mr. Santana Krishna, and I ask you this because of the developments that have transpired over the last few days, and there are statements flowing back and forth from both sides. As someone who has taken this decision, as someone who's been part of a board meeting that's now taken a decision to replace Cyrus Mistry, clearly there must be a sense of discomfort and disappointment in the manner in which all of this is transpiring and unfolding. In your personal assessment, what should the strategy be now on both sides going forward?
I'm a chartered accountant. I don't give advice without a fees, and you are asking for both sides. Okay, I can't give you advice for both sides. I can only give advice to one. I will only talk about Tata Global Beverages. In Tata Global Beverages, what we did was the most appropriate and exactly the thing that a professional board should have done. Independent directors should have played a role. We don't make statements. We went to the boardroom. We did a change, and I think we established the board has to give clear direction to the company so that stakeholders are not affected. I don't think I can give what strategy other companies should have adopted, but I think what we have done is probably the best way that one could have achieved it.
Mr. Santana Krishnam, good evening, sir. Surabhi here. I just have two very specific questions and very specific to Tata Global Beverages, sir. Ironic that all this is happening, and I'm going through the other releases, the result press releases. Of course, results is not something someone is looking at this point. But it's ironic. I mean, the release starts off by saying for second quarter in a row, Tata Global Beverages announces significant increase in operating profits and group net profits. And I was having a quick glance at the company's performance since 2012. From a revenue base of around 2,000 or rather 200 crore rupees, the company's moved to over 300 crores. Profitability has increased significantly as well. Two specific questions, sir. One, if you could tell us exactly why the board or the majority of the board felt why the continuation of Mr. Mistry would have been detrimental to the company's interests, in what manner? And second, in case there has been any sort of conversation with certain minority institutional investors that have invested in Tata Global Beverages.
No, I think as far as Mr. Mistry is concerned, it was not on performance. I would say that certainly we went because of the larger issues and long-term issues of the company, and we did not want confrontation with the major shareholder. Hostility to anyone is not good. As a chairman of a company, I don't think we should have hostility with anybody, particularly to a very, very important, I would say that the parent. Can I leave a parent and go to a step-parent? I cannot do it. Parent and I should have a good relationship. Tatas have been our parents. Probably ever since the company was started, it is Tata Global Beverages, Tata's name, which is what is giving us. Therefore, I think it had nothing to do with the quarterly performances. It's looked at a long-term objective and did this.
Okay, so I get that point that it has nothing to do with performance or merit. It is the longer term.
I would put it slightly different. I want you to get my words correctly.
Sure.
It is not on short-term performances or quarterly performances.
So I'm talking about a 4-year period, sir, from revenues of 2,000 crores to 3,000.
It is on future performance of the company. With this hostility, would future financial performance get affected? Would our shareholders get affected in the long term? Will we be killing the value that we have generated for the shareholders? It's an event that happens. So before the event and after the event, you will have to look at it. So what we are talking today is after the event. After the event, when I say it's when the issue arose between Tata Sons and them. So we are talking really after that. The story is different.
So finally, has the board, have any of the independent directors perhaps held any sort of conversations with some of the very important institutional investors that are part of Tata Global Beverages?
No, normally we go to the investors only when we feel that there is a crisis. We don't unnecessarily go and panic the investors by talking to them all these issues. We feel that this is an issue that which board can handle it, and board has handled it. And since we have enough talents inside and experienced hands inside, we've already got a new chairman who was earlier in Tata Global in a senior position. So we did not find there is any need for us to go and talk to the investors because there was no panic situation within the board.
Okay, no panic situation within the board. We'll take it at that and leave at that point. Mr. Sanatha Krishna, appreciate you joining in and speaking to us exclusively.